I want you to start off with your arms at your side, and you're going to flatten your lower back into the mat. And as you inhale, you'll arch your back like I'm showing here. As you exhale, you'll flatten your lower back. And as you inhale, you'll arch your lower back. You're just tucking and tilting your pelvis. Feet are on the floor. So I'm showing wheeling the pelvis one way and then wheeling the pelvis the other way so the lower back goes flat. Inhale to arch your lower back, wheel your pelvis. Then exhale into neutral. So in a neutral rotation, your hip bones and your pubic bone should be on the same plane. The pubic bone is above. Now try to hold your hip bones level and lift your right foot up just an inch and then all the way up. Set it back down. Without your hip bones twisting, see if you can lift your left foot up just an inch and then all the way up. Hold your lower back. See how my lower back doesn't move at all. Now bring the right leg up into tabletop. Lower it down. Hip bones, lower back don't move. Shoulders don't move. Bring the left leg into tabletop. Lower it back down. Now bring the left leg up and the right leg up to meet it without the hip bones twisting. Hold your lower spine in its position. Stabilizing. Raise the arms up. Now keep your back ribs pressed into the floor. Without your back ribs lifting, take your right arm back. So you can see how my shoulder is tight so my hand won't go all the way to the floor. Now take your left arm back. Don't let the back ribs lift. Hold the spine in its neutral position. Bring your arm back up. So you're learning to hold a long neutral spine. Now send the right leg forward, but watch how I try to hold my belly and not let my hips twist. Bring the right leg back up. Send the left leg forward without twisting in your spine. Bring the left leg back up. Now send the right leg forward and stretch the left arm back. This is the hardest one to do. Bring it back up. Send the left leg forward and the right arm back. Don't let the hips or the ribs twist. Bring it back up. Right leg forward, left arm back. Bring it back up. Left leg forward, right arm back. Bring it back up. And release. Let your feet, bring your feet together, soles of the feet together, knees apart, and then goalpost your arms so your chest can open. In the first video, the beginner first video, you worked on hugging the block with your thighs. That same action of hugging in with your outer legs when you do ab work can help to turn on your pelvic floor and your abdominal muscles. So that's a little hint if you try this one, next time you try this video. You'll probably be practicing every day. So when you try it tomorrow, just make sure you take a day off. All right, so now come onto your hands and your knees and work the same stability. So hug in, and without your hips or your ribs twisting, curl the toes under, glide back into downward facing dog. Now in down dog, I recommend if you're new and your hamstrings are tight to work with your knees bent so you can lengthen your spine. Then walk your feet to the front of your mat and fold forward. Again, little bend in the knees. Unless you have a really long back body line, like your hamstrings are really long and you can just fold forward, put your head on your shins. Otherwise, keep a bend in your knees. As you bend your knees, let the back of the head start to lengthen towards the floor. Feel the whole back body, whole spine start to lengthen. Then bring your hands to your hips. Roll your chest forward, press into your feet, and come on up to stand. Okay, from here, step your left foot back about 3 feet and pivot your left toes out slightly. The thigh bones turn to align with the second toes. Stand up tall, hands on your hips, legs as straight as they can go. Middle in, same work in the middle that we learned. Now stretch the arms out in front of you. Without your middle pushing out, take your arms up. So you can see my shoulders are tight. I can't take my arms all the way up, otherwise my belly will push out. So now as I press into the back heel, I bend the right knee towards 90 degrees so the knee starts to come over the ankle. So keep your awareness in your middle. It's very similar to what you're doing on your back. You were only able to stretch your arms and your legs so far before you lost that awareness of your spine. Step your left leg forward. Then change sides. Step the right leg back. Left leg stays at the front of the mat. The heels line up, and if you're unsteady, you could take a little distance in between your feet so you're not on a tightrope. Press the back heel strong. Now stretch the arms out in front of you, keeping the awareness of your ribs and your hips, keeping the belly in, raise the arms, and as the back heel bone anchors, the back leg stays straight, start to bend the left leg. Depending on how open your hips and your shoulders are, will decide how far you can move into the pose before you give up the length of your spine. What does that mean? Like if I started, you can already see I'm starting to sink into my lower back a little bit because I tried to go a little too far. Bring the arms back down, step your right leg forward. Stand in Tadasana. Now take your mat to a wall. With your mat at the wall, stand with your heels against the wall and turn the left toes out just a little bit. Then take a big step forward with your right foot, feet about 3 feet apart again, hands on your hips. Roll your shoulders back and open your chest, inhale. And as you exhale, put a little bend in your right knee and start to fold forward over your right leg. Now put your hands down on your shin without locking the shin back. Keep the bend in the knee. Try to make a flat back, lengthen your spine. And now keeping your back heel anchored into the wall, I want you to fold forward out over your leg. If you're more limited in your forward fold, put your hands on blocks. I have my hands on the floor, but if that's too far for you to fold forward, just put your hands on blocks. Now press down into all 4 corners of your feet. That's a really basic foundation that we want to start to work. Push through your feet, lift through your arches, make your legs active. Then inhale, make a flat back, put your hands on your hips, come back up to stand. Turn your feet and step your legs together. Change sides, heels against the wall, turn the right toes out slightly. Take a step forward with your left foot about 3 feet. Put your hands on your hips. Turn your chest to face forward. Roll your shoulders back and inhale. And as you exhale, fold out over your left leg. Put a bend in the knee, hold in the flat back position. Anchor the back heel into the wall. Now set the hands down on the shin. Again, inhale, lengthen. Have that bend in the knee so you can get a flat back. Then as you exhale, fold all the way out over your leg. Keep pressing your back heel bone into the wall and floor. Now notice how your left hip, it might want to swing out to the side. Hug in with the left hip, but hug the right thigh bone in at the same time, like when you're hugging the block in the first video that you watched on external rotation. As you inhale, make a flat back. Exhale, hands onto your hips. Come up to stand. Turn your feet in. Then bring your legs together. Stand in Tadasana. Raise the arms up and overhead. And exhale, fold forward. Bend in the knees to fold forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, step back, downward facing dog. Maybe try to straighten the legs a bit without rounding your back. Set your knees down. And sit in Virasana. Knees are close together. Feet are wide enough for the block to fit in between. Now twist to your right. Bring your left hand to the outside of your knee, right fingertips behind you. Come back to center and twist to your left. Work on the upright seat as you twist. Come back to center. Then raise the arms up and overhead. Roll your outer shoulders forward. Externally rotate your arms. Keep the awareness of the middle as the arms stretch. Bring your arms back down. Lie on your back. And practice bridge pose on the block. Lift your buttock up. So a course of study for practicing, if you're new, would be to watch the first video for a couple of weeks and try to practice 4 days a week. Once you've done that for a couple weeks, then come on to this video and practice this one for a couple weeks. If you feel pretty comfortable with the postures, then there will be a third beginner video, and we'll keep going with it. So again, this is your beginner inversion pose that's going to teach you what it feels like to be inverted, so that one day you can stand on your head, stand on your hands, or stand on your shoulders. Lift your butt up, move the block to the side. Now take modified happy baby. Reach onto the inside of your right knee, grab a hold of your big toe. Reach onto the inside of your left knee, grab a hold of your big toe with your left hand. As you hold your big toes, let your knees start to drop towards the floor and try to lengthen your spine out along the floor. Let your back spread and release. Then set your feet down and stretch the legs out for corpse pose. Shavasana. Make sure to hit the like button on the video, subscribe to the channel to help support us. And you know, Shavasana, this is the most important pose. So spend 5 minutes here, relax your body, listen to your breath, stay present by just watching the breath.